one of the most well-known analysts worldwide and the most bullish Tesla fans, you might say, Dan Ives from the investment banking company Wedbush, he says that the first quarter of the year has been a nightmare quarter for Tesla, and that Elon Musk must desperately steer Tesla through a white knuckle period. He said he reigns bullish, but his seatbelt is on. Don't kill the messenger here, guys. Dan Ives says from Wedbush, the first quarter of 2024 has been a nightmare quarter for Tesla as China demand is very soft. First quarter delivery estimates 425 to 475,000. Has the first quarter really been a nightmare quarter for Tesla?
We're bullish for Tesla on the other side. And look, we've been here before. In other words, there's no doubt, and we call it out. I mean, this is a code red situation for Tesla. I mean, they are going through some dark days in China from a demand perspective. But Joe, I believe on the other side of this is a company, not just from an FSD perspective, but from volume that could start to get 2.5, 3 million vehicles per year as we go into the next few years. Our whole point here is you're in between two growth waves here. They clearly need to lay out a strategy for investors because this is going to be a rip the Band-Aid off delivery quarter next week.
According to Dan Ives, it has. According to me, as if I would know better than Dan, I guess I wouldn't. I don't think it has. I want to explain to you exactly why that is. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to see you. I've done a lot of these, what would you say, analyst estimate shares with you, shared what my predictions were many times. I've never actually said, you know what, these numbers are irrelevant. This is the first time I've ever said this, guys. I look at BYD's deliveries, Tesla's deliveries. BYD's deliveries in February weren't great. They're bouncing back in March from the initial delivery figures that I can see. BYD, I think, are going to have a good year. The Tesla sales this year, I think they're going to be, well, I don't think they're that important. I'll tell you why I think that in a minute. First of all, Wedbush Securities, Dan Ives shared his Tesla Q1 2024 delivery estimates. He predicts a demand issue after a nightmare quarter for Tesla in China. He forecasts Tesla will deliver 425 to 475,000 vehicles in the first quarter and explains that Tesla dealt with a perfect storm this quarter. Now, keep in mind, Tesla sales in the first quarter of the year in China are always a lot lower than they are in the final quarter because China's car sales, same affects BYD and everyone else, are pretty small in the first 3 months of the year versus what they are in the final 3 months or the final 6 months of the year. It does affect Tesla, but it doesn't affect Tesla as much as what it will BYD. Tesla trimmed its production output at Giga Shanghai recently. We're not sure by how much though. We just know that Tesla have cut shifts. So workers were working more shifts and they've reduced those shifts. According to local reports though, Tesla is reducing production to match Giga Shanghai's manufacturing levels with demand in the Chinese EV market, which has many competitors. Now, obviously that's not true because, well, it's only partially true because Tesla manufactures cars for the world in its factory in China. So it's obviously not going to just dictate what it does based purely on the Chinese car market because it's making cars for Europe, it's making cars for Australia, it's making cars for Thailand, it's making them for Malaysia, it's making them from, about 40 different countries when it's manufacturing them in China. So that has to play into it as well. However, Tesla cut working days from 6.5 to 5 days a week as part of its changes. So Dan says the first quarter has been a nightmare quarter for Tesla. Now, like I said, Tesla sales in China, they have declined, but actually they're not that different so far this year versus what they were last year in China. And we're hearing this number, right? We're hearing February was bad for Tesla in China, but the truth is it's not really accurate. If you look at the totals so far this year, Tesla sales in China are they've actually grown versus last year. From what we know so far, they've grown. So I don't believe that Dan's correct on this. I think Dan might be looking at things, maybe just reading headlines and actually looking at the real data here. But anyway, despite Tesla's challenges, Dan Ives remains bullish on Tesla. He has set a Tesla price target of $300, which is way higher than what they're at today. And in other words, Dan says, invest in Tesla. You got to make a really good return over the next 12 months. It's going to bounce back. Now, Morgan Stanley, Adam Jonas, he agrees with Dan. He has reduced estimates from 469,400, a very bizarrely specific number, to 425,500. Jonas reiterated his overweight rating for Tesla. He says that Tesla is worth $320. In other words, Tesla's stock price is going to almost double in the relatively near future. These numbers, in my opinion, are neither here nor there. For me, if Tesla sells 425,000 cars or 470,000, I don't care. I honestly couldn't care less. But in my opinion, I've been talking to a few friends lately. Right now is possibly one of the best opportunities to buy BYD and Tesla than we maybe will ever see. And I think Tesla's value is linked more, I agree with Elon Musk, it's linked much more to do with their robotics and their software, their full self-driving software and their robotics, but particularly their robotics more than anything else. Now, speaking of full self-driving, we've seen Tesla do 4 full self-driving updates within, the last week? I think 8 days. And everyone's saying now that Tesla's full self-driving is actually acting like a human being. It's more aggressive. It's vastly different than what it was this time last year. Now, we've heard this before, right? We've heard this before over and over and over. But honestly, from what I've seen, I've watched a few videos on this, and I think it's gone up to a whole new level. I think it's not that far away. I genuinely think that within 12 months, Tesla will be at a point where they'll start to try and get regulatory approval for full self-driving. But I think much, much, much more important than any of that is not cars. It's not full self-driving. It's not energy. It's not batteries. It's robotics. It's robots. It's replacing their staff. It's replacing staff in other places worldwide with robots. And that's what's going to happen to us. We're going to lose our jobs. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. I'm hoping that there won't be robots who can beat me. Maybe there will, though. They can just program me into a robot, make a better version of me, make me more likable, right? Make me more improved. But anyway, the point is, Tesla does plan on selling billions of robots. It plans on basically taking a massive slice of the global labor market. And that's worth 30 times more than the car market, 30 times. So Tesla is pivoting away its business, and I think focusing more on robotics, more on hiring a lot of staff. And I think even within the company, I think the perception now is that they agree with Elon Musk. He's not, he doesn't get to dictate what Tesla does, but I think they agree with him that robotics and robots in particular, bots, are more important than cars. And that's why these numbers it's just sort of like, it's like when you can't see the forest for the trees. You get distracted with things like, short-term gratification. Eating an ice cream now rather than training hard, going to the gym every day for the long-term payoff and then getting that long-term gratification, that delayed gratification. That, in my opinion, is what we're looking at with Tesla right now. So if Tesla does deliver 425,000 cars and it's seen as a disappointment, take that opportunity. That's what I'm going to try. Well, that's what I would like to do. It's what I'd like as many of you as possible to do, as long as you don't live in Australia, so I can't get fined $400,000 for telling you to do so. In my opinion, this is an epic opportunity. I freaking hope the share price goes way down because people focus on today. They focus on yesterday. They focus on things that don't matter. You know what? We're all human. We're all very emotional creatures. We like to think we're not. I like to think I'm not, and I'm smart and I can override my emotions. We're not. We are very emotional creatures. We make short-term decisions. The long-term thing here is this. You know what? The future of the human race, we won't be the ones doing the work. And whoever controls the labor, they control the money. Thanks for watching.